Peace everyone, and welcome to part 3 of Illustrating a Book. So in part 1, I discussed the general plan that I was going to take for this entire project, and in part 2, I broke that down and got a little bit more specific and showed you the step-by-step process that I took for illustrating each one of the pages of this book. In this video, I'm going to be talking a little bit about coloring. I now have all of my pages illustrated after a grueling 3 weeks, and now I'm going to color them all. So the very first thing that I did is I discussed with the author the overall tone and mood of the story so that I could choose my colors accordingly. Now, I'm not going to get into specifics about color theory because, I'll be honest, I don't know a whole lot about color theory, so I'm not going to pretend to know a lot about it and try to describe it to you. Instead, I'm just going to explain the things that I do know and go from there. So I am aware of how colors affect mood of a story. And in this case, since I'm going for a bright and happy feel, I want my colors to be bright and happy. So the very next thing that I do after discussing the mood and tone of the story is I look at color references. This is a little bit different than looking at references, say, for a pose or an object. This step includes just finding images that are pleasing to the eye, that have a very clear tone, and just examining the colors to see how it is that the colors create such a mood. Now, when I first started this project, I had already discussed with the author what medium I was going to use for this project, simply because of the style she wanted me to emulate. So I will be using the Faber-Castell watercolor pencils. I will be doing a review and demo of these in the future. So with my medium choice, I had a lot of colors to choose from. So from there, the next step that I take is to create a color chart. Now, with my color chart, it lets me really easily see how my colors interact with each other on a page and which colors I can use to complement one another. Having a color chart is a really important step because it allows you to simply just look at the color you need and choose it right away, rather than searching around or mistakenly picking up the wrong color. And after I've examined the colors that I'm going to use and I find the colors that complement each other, is I try to bring those complements into each illustration. So when I use the green, I try to find a way to add the red somewhere near it to really get those complements to show up nicely. Similarly with the yellow, I will try to find a way to add the purple somewhere around it so that all the complements come through each illustration. So now I'm going to continue and show you a demonstration of illustrating one of the pages from the book. So this page that I'm illustrating is just going to be used to decorate throughout the book. So as you can see, there's a lot of color that I'm using on this illustration, and it can be quite challenging to get all of these colors to work well with one another. And setting up the coloring chart really lets you find all the colors that work well with each other. I perhaps went through 3 or 4 different purples, 4 different reds, and 3 different greens in order to find all of the bright colors that I was able to set on this page and get to look nice next to one another. And you can also see that I'm putting into practice the use of complementary colors. You can see when I use the green, as I try to get the red right next to it, and also when I use the purple, I try to get the yellow right next to it. So here's a look at the final illustration, and that is going to be it for this video. Hopefully it was helpful and the ideas and the tips that I discussed will be useful in your own artwork. Be sure to check out part 1 and part 2 of this video series if you haven't seen them already. And make sure that you subscribe so that you don't miss part 4. And also, if you like, you can support my work on Patreon. And I will see you next time. Take care. Peace.